The manner in which the bitterroot became Montana's state flower follows a rather circuitous path, taking us now to the great city of Chicago. It was 1892. The wild frontier was gone, the native peoples of the West had been subjugated, and cities were now where the action was. And there, commerce and industry ruled supreme. America was ready to show itself off to the world, and what better way to do that than invite all nations to come and participate in a grand World's Fair, the Columbian Exposition. It would ostensibly be in celebration of Christopher Columbus's arrival to the New World 400 years earlier, but in actuality, it was altogether something quite different. Arising from 600 acres of marshland, it became known as the White City, although a temporary city, for it would live for just 6 months. Its legacy, however, would last well into the coming century. It attracted some 27 million visitors who came to marvel at its wonders. The exposition gave the country a new symbol of patriotism, the Pledge of Allegiance, a new holiday, Columbus Day, new foods like hamburgers and carbonated soda, and fittingly, it was the inspiration for the mythical city of Oz. Touted as the greatest cultural and entertainment event in the history of the world, it offered 65,000 exhibits. Visitors wrote of the impact it had on them.
A pure white temple on the pure blue sea, with an Italian sky, all vast and beautiful as the world never saw it before, and in it the most astounding, confused, bewildering mass of art and industry, without a sign that there was any connection, relation, or harmony, or understanding of the relations of anything anywhere.
The exposition marked the real beginnings of a consumer-based society, living not off the land so much as off the output of machines. Visitors could enjoy this wonderful new world of technology by taking a spin on the world's first Ferris wheel. From atop the Ferris wheel, one could survey the enormity of the exposition and perhaps notice the large circus-like encampment located just outside the gates. This was where William Cody, Buffalo Bill to his fans, held the ever-popular, world-famous Wild West show. Scenes from the recently vanished frontier lived on in this extravaganza. The Native Americans could be found here, this time as actors in a play. Our story of the Bitterroot picks up now over in the horticulture building. Encased in 8 greenhouses under a 180-foot dome were plant exhibits from all over the world. Among these was the scientific floral exhibit, and therein lay several Montana bitterroots, contributed by Mary Alderson of Bozeman, Montana. Mrs. Alderson, an exceptional woman of her times, was a staunch member of the Montana Women's Christian Temperance Union. She was interested in creating a better moral atmosphere for children and young people. These concerns carried over to a refinement in the arts and appreciation of beauty in nature, and to her way of thinking, the bitterroot was the very pinnacle of this beauty. While at the fair, Mrs. Alderson helped organize the National Floral Emblem Society. Its mandate was to ensure that each state should designate an official state flower, and that a national flower likewise be selected. In true suffragette fashion, the voting would be open to all, regardless of age or sex. As Mrs. Alderson later wrote,
"The Columbian Exposition was the dawn of a new epoch in our national life. Nowhere was this more noticeable than the impulse it gave to the intellectual life of our women, and especially to their organization into societies and clubs of various kinds. At the Women's Building, registers had been opened and everyone was urged to vote for corn as a national floral emblem. Some earnest women, thinking the drift of the matter decidedly unfair, organized the National Floral Emblem Society to give everyone the right to vote for his or her candidate."
As a Montana newspaper at the time wrote,
Mrs. Matt Alderson, a great lover of flowers and a proficient botanist, was appointed to take charge of the work in this state. This lady appointed co-workers in each county, sending ballots to them for distribution throughout their respective counties.
The aim of the Floral Emblem Society was not only to direct the choice of a state floral emblem, but to increase a knowledge of our state flora, which is exceptionally varied and beautiful. To make our flowers the ornament of our homes, as they are the crowning glory from an aesthetic point of view of our fields, valleys, and mountains. And to increase a more rational and civilized celebration of Independence Day by supplanting the barbaric barbecue and din of firearms with floral festivals and processions. In regard to the state floral emblem itself, it was emphasized that desirable qualities were abundant growth in Montana and a comparatively limited growth elsewhere, beauty and grace of flower, leaf, and plant, hardihood, usefulness, vigor, brightness, purity, grandeur, etc., by which it might appropriately represent the ideal Montanan character.
Not surprisingly, it was the Bitterroot that came closest to meeting these criteria.
Indeed, nearly 2/3 of all the votes cast were for this flower. Even the most enthusiastic supporters of other candidates were forced to accept the result with satisfaction, if not with gratification, for they knew that every possible effort had been made to secure a fair and representative vote, and that there was no doubt as to the preference of our people for a state symbol.
The House yesterday passed the Cooper Bill, making the Loesia rediviva, more commonly known as the Bitterroot, the floral emblem of the state. The Senate will undoubtedly pass it too.
The Loesia rediviva was legalized as Montana's state flower by the 4th Legislative Assembly in 1895, without a dissenting vote.